Hey, Immigrantly family, this is Saadia Khan. I have some great news for all of you. We recently launched our newsletter, which comes out 3 times a week. It's called Hyphenly, which is our no fluff newsletter with hot takes, heartfelt stories, and all the feels of living in between cultures. Come for the nuance, stay for the vibes. You can find the link to subscribe in our show notes. Don't forget to subscribe. Hey listeners, welcome back to the Immigrantly Circle. I am Saadia Khan. So when we think of different faiths, we often see them siloed, distinct in ritual, separate in language, and isolated in practice. Congregants are sometimes quick to proclaim the supremacy of their own traditions, often overlooking the rich parallels across spiritual worlds. But what if, instead of drawing boundaries, we used faith as a bridge? What if we drew from multiple traditions, not to dilute, but to deepen? Today's guest, Sangeetha Kowsik, has made it her life's work to do just that. A designer, calligrapher, chaplain, and founder of Ihsan Ishan Design, Sangeetha blends Arabic and Sanskrit, Islamic and Hindu iconography into a bold visual and spiritual language of interfaith harmony. She was the first woman of color to lead a design team at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and she currently serves as the Hindu chaplain at NYU and Columbia. She's also trained in classical Indian dance and Hindustani vocal music, as well as Arabic calligraphy, embodying a kind of pluralism that's both intellectual and lived. Her work doesn't ask us to erase differences. Instead, it invites us to sit with those differences, to find the divine, not just in what we know, but in what we are willing to learn from one another. So without further ado, let's get right into a wonderful conversation with Sangeetha. Welcome, Sangeetha, to Immigrantly. Really excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
A lot of people talk about interfaith endeavors, how to bring different faith groups together, but you're doing it through art, right? And to me, your work appears to contain this Hindu spirit, Islamic aesthetic. Is that an accurate classification?
Yes, so I started this Ihsan Ishan Design originally to bring Hindus and Muslims together, because I have to tell you more about my background in order to understand the context behind my work. Like, why would I draw Lord Ganesha, prominent Hindu deity, in Arabic calligraphy?
Absolutely. So we'll go all the way back. You grew up in a Tamil household. So tell me, what was it like growing up in California?
I grew up in Fremont, California, which is a suburb of San Francisco. The book, The Kite Runner? We have the largest Afghan population outside of Afghanistan. Yep. Takes place in my city, Fremont. So I grew up with a lot of Indians, Persians, Pakistanis, Afghans. So it's like I grew up in Mexicans. I grew up in a very diverse community and diverse household. Like, my father built 3 Hindu temples in the United States. So we're Tamil people. And so when my father first came to the country, he landed in New York City. And so he was one of the original helpers to found the Flushing Ganesha temple. It's the first proper South Indian Hindu temple in the United States. So he's one of the original founders. So growing up in Fremont, California, it's like I attended Shiva Vishnu Temple in Livermore, California. My father's one of the builders there. And also Ali Akbar Khan, the Sarod master, the Ali Akbar College of Music. So he's the one who did the groundbreaking ceremony at the temple my father built. So Muslim musician's name, Ali Akbar Khan, and Ravi Shankar, the sitarist, their brother-in-laws, both their names hang on the wall of this giant Hindu temple in the USA. The Shiva Vishnu temple, I told you about the Muslim musician who did the groundbreaking ceremony, but also it's very inclusive because it has both South Indian and North Indian architecture. It has black granite deities of the South and also 3 marble deities of North India, say Durga, Ram Parivar, and Radha Krishna. So it's like I grew up with this inclusiveness of all different cultures coming together and surrounded by music, art, and dance. Because if you go into any South Indian Hindu temple, it is covered with beautiful architecture, sculptures, flowers, everything. So anyway, naturally, I wanted to go to design school. I did the most un-Indian, un-Desi thing possible and went across the country to Parsons to study fashion design. Much to my parents' shock, they thought I would be an engineer, lawyer, or finance, most immigrant families want their children to succeed. So they ask them to go into money-making professions like medicine and law and finance, because someone is always going to have a baby. Someone's always going to throw up. You have a job as a doctor, So anyway, I went to Parsons and I studied communication design and fashion design. My first boss out of college was J-Lo, actually, Jennifer Lopez.
Oh my gosh, I want to know more about that.
Oh, she's super nice. She's such a nice lady. She was very kind to me. Yeah. She sent me an autographed picture and a handwritten note of her and a huge box of her perfume and saying like, thank you so much for your illustrations and things like that. But my perfumes, I don't like the perfume. It's kind of stinky. So I sent it to my sister.
So all the rumors out there are inaccurate then about she being mean?
Yes, absolutely. She's very hardworking. But then, I went to continue to work in all sorts of fashion, beauty, luxury houses like Estee Lauder, Calvin Klein, Ralph Lauren, and things like that. And then I became the head designer for the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I love art. I've traveled extensively. I've seen a majority of this world, not Africa so much. I've only gone to Morocco. I need to see more of Africa. The chance to be surrounded by artwork and different cultures, it was very inspiring walking into the Met every single day. But I also noticed the lack of representation there, especially for someone like me who was raised in Hindu faith and who knows a lot about different murtis. We're not idol worshippers. I'll get to that too. But it's not accurate, a lot of the labels they were writing or whatnot. And I also noticed the lack of diversity on staff in museum merchandise in general. So I established the internship and mentorship program for women of color and for international students. I had interns coming in from like Saudi, from Pakistan, from Japan, from India, from different parts of Africa, places where people would not have had a chance to work in a world-renowned institution. And through my advocacy, I was able, now all internships are paid at the Met, but it took a long time because I know that change takes a long time. Anywho, the Islamic galleries reopened at the Metropolitan Museum. And so they kept calling it art of the Arab lands. And I'm like, that's wrong because South Asians are not Arabs. Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, Nepalis, we're not Arabs. We can be Muslim, but we're not Arabs, right? You can call it Islamic art. And the one form of Islamic art that ties the entire Islamic world together is Arabic calligraphy, because this art form is used to write the Holy Quran. It's used to decorate mosques. And anywhere you find a Muslim person, you will find Arabic calligraphy, whether it's in Morocco or Paraguay or Philippines or Canada. Anywhere you're going to find...
It's a through line that connects all different kinds of Muslims.
Exactly. Arabic calligraphy. So the museum was like, yeah, that's great. Go do that. I'm like, really? Me? A big old Hindu? Like, where am I going to find Arabic calligraphy?
So I will stop you here and ask you this question. When you said you don't want to be well-versed in the language, you just need to learn how to draw. Why do you think learning the language wasn't a necessary imperative for you to draw?
Let me rephrase that. I didn't have time, right? But I did learn the language. Of course I learned the language. I did learn the language, right? But he was a language professor. My teacher, Ahmed Uncle, was Egyptian language professor. So I learned Fusa. I learned the modern standard Arabic language, right? But I told him I really need to learn to draw it, to learn calligraphy. So he worked for the UN and he got me my Ustad, Majid Saif, who's Palestinian. He's a well-known Palestinian calligrapher. So both of them used to teach at the UN together. So he went and he brought Ustad Majid into NYU. And I threw a huge temper tantrum and actually have a degree in Arabic calligraphy, right? Under Majid Saif, right? So it's a rich language. It's a beautiful language. See, my language that I speak at home with my parents is Tamil, but a lot of our Hindu prayers are in Sanskrit, and most people do not know Sanskrit. And it's like when you know, but now I know Sanskrit. When you learn a language, and especially a holy language, because like the Quran is written in Arabic, right? You feel a connection towards the divine. The first word I wrote was Bismillah. Is the first word that I ever wrote, right? So I felt a strong connection to this language, to this beautiful art form, everything. So I got a degree in it and I love it. You're absolutely right. When you learn the language, it's a heart connection when you read the Quran that way. But it is very difficult. Arabic, especially to speak, is very difficult.
It's a difficult language. Growing up, I used to read Quran so I could read it. But then I switched to reading Quran in English because I felt Arabic was too difficult. It's a difficult language.
Just like Tamil language, like Tamil and Hindi have no correlation. Everyone asks me, how come you don't watch Bollywood films? I'm like, I don't understand the language. I need English subtitle, just like they cannot understand a word of Tamil because it's literally like Chinese and English. That's how different our languages are. So I got a degree in this and I took all this knowledge back to the museum, but unfortunately they deemed it as too ethnic. And it's like, and
what does that mean?
Islamophobia, basically, Saadia. It's Islamophobia because, back then I had to airbrush a lot of Urdu, a lot of Persian, a lot of Arabic out of a lot of like artwork that we were using.
So Sangeetha, give me the time frame, the timeline for this. When was all of this happening?
When did the Islamic galleries reopen? 2011. Right? So before that, you would start designing 2 seasons ahead. So maybe from 2010 onwards. Honestly, things have changed now because I just saw the Mughal exhibition in London at the Victoria Albert recently, just this past year. And there they had everything. They did not airbrush anything out. And I was like, wow, it took so long for people to be not scared of Arabic, Persian, and Urdu typefaces. It's a typeface. All of these languages are ancient and they're beautiful and they're holy languages. And it's not right to airbrush this out and not to teach the world about the beauty of these languages.
So when you were told it's too ethnic, what happened next?
Mahakali came out, which means I got really, really angry. But what could I do? They wanted saleable products, so very just safe design. The Zalige pattern from Morocco? You've seen these Zalige pattern because Tory Burch used it in her collections. That's what they predominantly wanted, right? A lot of artwork was modified to airbrush out any reference to any, even if some inscription just said this elephant belonged to Emperor Shah Jahan, you had to remove it because it was written in Persian. So things like that, it really, really bothered me. I'll tell you, it was extremely offensive to me. After the Metropolitan Museum, I went back to working in fashion. So then I was approached by NYU to become the Hindu chaplain. And I don't know what the word chaplain means, right? And I'm very rare in the sense that I'm born and raised here, Indian American, Hindu, who knows temple worship and who knows how to do priestly rites. I would say like baby priest. I would say that, right? Because for us, I don't know how else to put it because it's like we don't have any like seminaries or Quranic schools or rabbi schools to be a rabbi, a pastor, or an imam. Basically, that's not how my faith works. So anyway, NYU heard about my work at Broome Street because they're like, you're very rare, you're American, you can connect with the students, that especially Indian American population. Would you like to come and be a chaplain? And I said, sure, I would love to. I don't know what a chaplain is, but okay.
So what is a chaplain? Did you learn what it was?
I did through my best friend, Imam Khalid Latif. We're going to get to that. When I came to NYU, Imam Khalid Latif, he's the Sunni Imam and the founder of the Islamic Center at NYU. I'm sure you've probably heard his name before.
I interviewed him a couple of years ago.
So he's pretty well known in the Muslim community. And because I grew up with a lot of Pakistani people, family friends or whatnot, they all love Imam Khalid. So I'll never forget the first day I met Khalid, right? He was walking with his son, Kareem. Well, now Kareem's 10. Then he was 2. He was like, "What's up?" to me, right? And I said, "Don't you mean Salaam Alaikum?" I'm like, "You're the celebrity, Imam?" I'm like, "You look like an Elmo doll." Right? And he started laughing and he asked me, he was like, "Oh, Sangeetha," he's like, "Do you want to have coffee and we can get to know each other?" I was, "Sure, I would love to," right? So then I met Imam Khalid and I asked Khalid, I'm like, "Khalid, what is a chaplain?" Right? And Khalid was like, chaplain is spiritual caregiving in your tradition. Right? So he's like, talk about Hinduism, teach about Hinduism, right? I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can talk about Hinduism till the cows come home." I'm like, "No pun intended." And he started laughing. So Khalid, he sat down with me and he helped me find the South Asian population. He helped me find students. And this is how my Arabic calligraphy began. Khalid said to me, he's like, "You're not scared of me?" He asked me. I'm like, "Why would I be scared of you?" I'm like, "You look like an Elmo doll and you're half my size," is what I said to him, right? Because he's tiny, right? He told me there was a Hindu monk who was there before me, a Hare Krishna tradition monk, right? I'm not from the Hare Krishna tradition. That's what the Western world mostly seems to know about Hare Krishna traditions. When Hinduism, we have many different kinds of traditions. But so this monk refused to eat with Khalid because he's Muslim. I'm like, "What did you say?" And he's like, "Yeah." And again, the Mahakali came out, the flipping anger came out. I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Yeah, so they refused to eat with me." I was like, "Wait." And I whipped out a bag of Doritos from my handbag, right? I'm like, "We can eat this. I think it's halal. I think we can eat this. Do you want to eat this?" And then he just started laughing. He's like, "Oh my God," right? And yeah, and I shoved Doritos in the Imam's face, basically. And we've been close friends ever since.
Sangeetha, were you surprised to see that, this monk refused to eat with Imam Khalid?
Yes.
You were surprised?
Extremely. I was extremely surprised because I never grew up with any kind of Hindu-Muslim hatred or any kind of animosity. My mother had an extensive Qawwali collection in the puja room. So it's like Qawwali Khan said, Nazrat Fateh Ali Khan is my mom's favorite. And Ali Akbar College of Music, I grew up with Zakir Hussain Ji as well, plus all of our repertoire, whether it's dance or music, is Islam and Hinduism is so intertwined. And this is what I grew up with. So for someone to not eat with someone because they're Muslim is horrifying to me. In 2019, I had a chance to do an art exhibition up at NYU, which continues to hang by the mosque at NYU. So a Hindu artist's artwork hangs by the mosque. It's titled Allah Swami, get it? Allah for God in Arabic, and then Swami is a more endearing, less scholarly term for God in Sanskrit, right? So basically, I put up this art exhibition celebrating the shared traditions of Hinduism and Islam. So every single piece has a story behind it meant to unite and educate people. Like, for example, this tabla design that I'm wearing, it says Subhanallah on the tabla. Because Subhanallah, God is perfect, because when the instrument is made in India, the black part is put in by Hindus, the leather is worked on by Muslims. Plus, it's a shared instrument played across faiths, across genres, not just Indian classical music, but rock, hip-hop, drum and bass, jungle, etc. Right? So that's why Subhanallah, God is perfect, a unifying instrument. See, again, a lot of people do not know about South Indian Hinduism, which is extremely inclusive. We don't believe in conversion or plasticizing. Like, everyone is welcome into our houses of worship. For 300 years, there is a family of Muslims who have been playing the Nadaswaram and Tawal at the Sri Rangam temple in South India. Sri Rangam is one of the largest Hindu complexes dedicated to Lord Vishnu. And also at the Flushing Temple, for the longest time, the Nadaswaram player, he was Muslim. His name was Qasim. He played for nearly 15 years before somebody else took over.
So you did end up creating Ihsan Ishan. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So that was launched during Ramadan in 2019 alongside this art exhibition. Basically, I launched this brand and this design studio to go along with the art exhibition, combining my fashion, beauty, luxury, and museum background in order to unite the world through art and design. So it started with Hindus and Muslims with the Arabic calligraphy. Then it went into Black Lives Matter. That Black Lives Matter design has won a bunch of awards for philanthropy and advocacy. It's all rooted in principles of compassion and Hinduism as well. And then the Amazigh people, the indigenous people of North Africa, the interconnectedness between Tamil people and Amazigh, and then Mesoamerica, the interconnectedness between the indigenous traditions of Mesoamerica and Hinduism. The marigold, for example, the marigold flower is not a South Asian flower. It came from the Aztecs, and it's not allowed to be used in worship in South Indian temples. I didn't know that. A South Indian Muslim friend told me that, and he was laughing. It's allowed in North India. That's where monsoon wedding came from. Not allowed in South India.
So let's talk about this. Like, when I think of how you're expanding traditions to bring different religions together, even practices and norms in one place, it's a confluence of different kinds of worship, practices, traditions. Now, many of us are raised to think of faith as exclusive, that choosing one means rejecting others. When people think of their Muslim identity or Hindu identity, it's mostly these are my traditions, these are the practices that I embody. What has your work taught you about the permeability of spiritual traditions, especially between Islam and Hinduism?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. A lot of Hindus don't know this. In Maha Upanishad, it clearly states, Ekam Sak, all is one. All faiths lead to the same divine. And Vasudeva Kudupakam, which is the principle of the entire world, is one family. I believe that the more positive messages that you send of interconnectedness, it's like that's how you change people's mindset. Because Saadia ji, have you ever wondered why there are more Muslims in India than, say, 5 Arab countries put together? That's how many Muslims there are in India. Why did Islam stay and Buddhism leave? Even though Buddhism came out of Hinduism. We share a lot in culture. We share a lot in food. We share a lot in music. But also, look, namaz, namaskar, all means bowing. Like the physical practice as well, too. When you also, you wash your hands and your feet before you pray. Our practices, our physical practices are very close in that sense. Also, Islam came to South India through the trade routes. It didn't come through invasions of the North. So I understand like the generational trauma and also 1947 partition. It stems and it's been carried into folks who have migrated into US and stuff like that. And that's something we really need to change the narrative because it's not good for mental health. But South India, different story. Islam came, settled in South India, people intermarried, and it's very peaceful down south. But unfortunately, no one talks about South India so much because we have darker skin and people are racist towards folks with darker skins.
Have you ever faced any pushback from within your own religious communities? Like, how do people respond who may see your work as diluting tradition? Because I'm sure there are people out there who have concerns about what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. So when I first started, too, a lot of Muslims were like, music is haram, music is haram. I'm like, tell that to the Ali Akbar College of Music and Humayun Saki, the greatest Afghan rubab player, Zakir Ji. You know, it's like there's so many DJ Khaled, the Palestinian pop guy, right? So I got pushed back that way, right? And with the rise of like Hindu nationalism or whatnot, right? It's horrifying, and it's like they're trying to convert you, I'm like, convert me to what? When it comes to art and creativity, There'll always be people who will be your supporters, and there'll always be those who will not support what you do. But people like the idea behind what I do, that it's about compassion, it's about unity. It's about explaining to folks the interconnectedness of this world. And so it's I don't bring politics into anything. I don't know anything about politics. It's exhausting for me. It's like watching a reality show. I'm like, no, thank you.
Do you ever feel pressure to explain or defend your artistic choices to non-religious audiences? Because it seems like most of your work is rooted in religion, right? It is rooted in religious tradition. How do non-religious audiences connect to your work?
I would say it's inspired by faith. It's inspired by faith, right? So I have a lot of non-religious folks who love, because it's a design studio. Like I had a pop-up shop, and a lot of people who do not identify with any religion, they're like, we've never seen anything like this before. This is so sweet. They especially love my Urdu emojis dedicated to Imam Khalid artwork, right? A lot of non-Desi people, religious people bought that artwork because like, wow, that's a really cute story that, you hear about like the Hindu-Muslim animosity you see on the news and media. But in reality, it's like you have a cake eating contest, Diwali sweet eating contest. Who's going to win between Sangeetha and Khalid? It's always Khalid. He always wins. So it's like, so it's like literally fight about who ate the last cookie. It was probably him. So
when you create your artwork, Sangeetha, has there been a piece that you created that really spoke to you as a person, that really came from within rather than being something that you were taught?
The one that came from within was my Kannada Om. If you see the bag, the Kannada or the dancing Ganesha tote bag that I designed, right? I was sitting at the temple, and Ganesh is also Omkar, the primordial sound. The first sound of mankind is Om, right? So it's like, I am Omkar. And so that's what came to me. And I drew that Om in Kannada calligraphy because that bronze dancing Ganesha was found in Karnataka state. And that's the state my father is from. So that one came from within.
What have you learned about your own religion, and how has your relationship with Hinduism evolved through this process?
Well, Hinduism is so dramatically and vastly diverse and different. My form of practice also tends to evolve as well, too. That's the beauty of Hinduism, is its diversity. Like I recently did a huge project on Kamadeva, the Lord of Love and Desire. Even though he has been erased in modern Hindu worship. Like if you go to any Hindu temple and ask about Kamadeva, they'll be like, chi, don't talk, and blah, blah, blah. Because his name has been just dismissed into like Kama Sutra or whatnot. And Kama Sutra has been so misrepresented in the West and fetishized.
How so?
Like Kama Sutra is just sex positions, right? That's how the Western world deems it. But that's not what Kama is. Kamadeva is the Lord of not just love, he's not just romantic love and not just sexual desire. He's also life force and creation. I found ancient texts, Hindu texts, while I was studying at the Bodleian Library in Oxford University, where desire is one of the highest forms of truth and prayer because it propels you to go after what you want. And he's not just sexual love or pleasure or just Cupid. It also gives you self-love in order to connect with the divine.
So why do you think we are missing those components of tradition?
Colonization. Colonization. Puritanism. India was colonized. Puritanism, and before that, South Asia, we did not have. We were much more free thinking. And think about it. Going back to the question that you asked, Islam, one of the most glorious empires in South Asia was the Mughal dynasty. And the Mughal dynasty was very free thinking. Shah Jahan gave us the greatest testament to love with the Taj Mahal, right? But not just that, they also wrote a lot of treatises, a lot of like commentaries. They translated Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita into Persian, into Urdu, so that more people could read it. People tend to forget that shared history that we have. Akbar had a lot of Ramayanams translated into Persian and into Arabic. So it's like this kind of interconnectedness of love goes through South Asia over there. But we've forgotten our shared histories because of colonization, because of Puritanism, because of this is haram, that's haram.
As I'm listening to you, I am thinking of all the things that I know, and I know very little about other religions. I mean, I know very little about my own religion, sadly, but it's just fascinating to me how well versed you are in all these traditions and how comfortable you are. Again, I keep going back to this idea of creating something holy, creating something spiritual. How do you approach it? Because it seems to me that your approach is pretty multifaceted. But when I think of anything holy, I think of faith itself. It's the reaction that it evokes, right? Because faith is all about belief. Do you think of intention or technique when you think of faith?
For me, it's like faith is having confidence and belief in something that cannot be seen sometimes. Having a relationship with the divine, knowing that everything's going to be okay. Like regardless of your external circumstances or how tough things get. I guess like the word would be sanctuary, right? Inner sanctuary, like this faith inside of you that the divine has your back, giving you your backbone, giving you a warm hug inside, I guess. And it takes time. Faith inspires because faith is love. Any religious tradition you look at, faith is love.
But faith has been weaponized for political reasons as well.
Exactly, which is disgusting.
Sangeetha, what do you say to people who, again, non religious people who don't understand the reverence or the sacredness that you talk about regarding faith and fluidity of faith, how faith is interconnected in so many ways? Because there are a lot of people out there who are non religious, who don't see faith as a binding anchor. They see faith as problematic in many ways, one being how it's been politicized and weaponized as a tool for divisiveness and as a tool for oppression. So when you talk about faith with such reverence, how do you include people who are non religious, not just to connect with your art form, but to connect with your beliefs?
Well, explaining to them, like explaining in a kind and compassionate way, not coming at someone with aggression, because I strongly believe in compassion, explaining things to them. Like the thing is, it's like everyone likes pretty things, right? Everyone likes pretty things. Everyone likes nice jewelry, a nice shirt, a nice scarf. Like they like beautiful things. And so beauty is what connects this world. But the inspiration behind it, when you explain the story behind it and what faith is, people are more likely to connect. And so that's why I write these giant stories and concepts behind every single design, because I believe in education in a kind and compassionate way, not yelling, not screaming, not politicizing.
Give me an example of when a non religious person connected with your artwork or with what you're teaching.
Well, the Mexican Ganesha. Everyone loves that Mexican Ganesha. The Mexico City collection, loved the story about the marigold flower and then the roses that I collected from my garden for Hindu worship. They love that pattern of marigold flowers and roses. And then they read the story behind it and they're like, oh, wow, that's really, really interesting. And that's really cool. Like, we didn't know that about this. And so it's like, that's cultural, but it's also faith-based too. Like, For example, the marigold flower, everyone thinks it's an Indian flower, South Asian flower because of monsoon wedding, right? But it was cultivated by the Aztecs. So one day my friend was visiting me in New York and she's like, can we go to the Hindu temple? I'm like, sure. So it's I never go to a Hindu temple without flowers. And I bought marigold flowers from Whole Foods and we went to the temple. So I'm Tamil, she's Telugu, her boyfriend's Punjabi. We go to the temple and the priest is Kannada, right? Kannadiga. And he looks at me horrified. Like he looked like I just committed murder or something like that. And he's like, no, away, take it away, right? Like he doesn't speak English and we're like, huh? What did we do? I'm like, we're fully dressed, right? And nobody speaks English here, right? And we're speaking 4 different languages. And he looked like I'd punched him in the face, or he was looking at me like I committed like the greatest sin on this planet or murder. So then I finally found someone who spoke English. They were like, oh, you can't offer marigold flower in the South Indian temple. Maybe take them to the North Indian temple or take them to the Shirdi Baba, our Muslim saints temple, right? Take it there or whatever. I'm like, okay. I'm like, why? They don't explain. See, that's another reason I started this project, is to teach about Hinduism as well too, because a lot of aunties and uncles and a lot of people in temples do not know how to explain Hinduism to the next generation. So then when I went home, I bumped into a South Indian Muslim friend who's from Hyderabad. And I told him about my adventure at the temple with my friends. And he started laughing. He's like, no, Sangeetha, you cannot offer marigold. And he's from India. He's from Hyderabad. He's like, you can't offer marigold in any house of worship. So you cannot take it to a temple, to church, or to a mosque or gurdwara, right? You can use it to decorate for weddings. You can decorate at the outside, but you can't offer for worship. Like you can't take it in a temple. Then I realized the interconnectedness. Mexico and Mesoamerica venerate their ancestors. And this marigold flower is associated with funerals in South India. So whether it's a Muslim funeral or Hindu funeral or Sikh funeral, South Indians use that flower for funerary worship and for venerating their ancestors. So it's the same thing in Mexico City with the Day of the Dead celebrations, where they're all covered with marigold flowers, right? And so more than North India, South India has ancestral worship. So that's the interconnectedness between Mesoamerica and South Indian Hinduism, is the marigold flower, or South Indian practice.
So it's beyond the religious ideology itself. It's more experiential for people.
Yeah. And so, it was very well received. Same thing with my latest collection, Persia in India, right? Persia and South Asia. I wouldn't say India. Let's just say South Asia, right? The pomegranate and peacock feather pattern that I did, right? Pomegranates are the national fruit of Iran. But in South India, there's Arndal, this poetess. It's a pomegranate flower that they offer her when her festival season comes in December, right? And the peacock feather is used as bookmarks for the Holy Quran in Afghanistan and Iran. But it's also, Lord Krishna wears it in his hair. Kartikeya, like Lord Murugan, like different Hindu deities are associated with the peacock feather. So that's the interconnectedness between Iran and South Asia. But it's a fun, cool pattern made out of peacock feathers and pomegranates, so that so people are able to wear it.
So I was going to ask you, if someone unfamiliar with your work wanted to begin understanding it visually or even emotionally, where should they start? And you've given us so many different examples already, but I'll still ask you, is there one piece of art that you want people to see or observe just to connect with your work, who do not understand your work, have not been exposed to it?
Well, because there's 5 different core collections, I think the best place to start is to go to my website and explore every collection and read the stories behind the artwork. Because there's the whole Arabic calligraphy, there's the entire indigenous people of North Africa, there's Mesoamerica, there's Persia, there's Black Lives Matter. So if people take the time to read concepts and stories behind the artwork, they'll understand where it came from and really connect to the work.
So Sangeetha, you started with Arabic calligraphy. You've expanded into so many different ideas of interconnectedness. What is next for you?
Next for me is continuing to build the studio and continuing to lecture, also to have more speaking engagements and workshops and exhibitions as well too, and to have pop-up shops with the exhibition.
So in the end, if you were to define the United States of America in the context of its relationship with faith, how would you do that?
I mean, diversity of faiths, because it's a USA. You can't define it as one faith tradition, because we have so many different immigrant communities, so many different traditions and cultures and ways of thinking, and that's the beauty of the U.S. is its diversity. And like in Hinduism, Vasudeva Kudapagam, the entire world is one family, right? Doesn't say just Indian people are one family or Hindu people are one family. It says entire world is one family. And you also asked me about Hinduism, why I appreciate being a South Indian Hindu especially, is because the end of every puja and prayer, it says, Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Let the entire world and all creation be happy, and let me be able to contribute to that happiness and well-being as well too. But for us, it's all creation. Doesn't matter your skin color, your faith, or where you come from, everyone together.
Everyone together. Thank you so much, Sangeetha. This was great. Where can people find your work? I know there's a website, so if you could share your website with everyone.
So my website is ihsanishan.com or Ihsan Ishan Design on Instagram as well too. But my website has more information because it has the stories and concepts behind the designs. I loved talking to you. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast, because I like looking into a person's eyes and connecting with them.
Thank you, Sangeetha. This was so good. Thank you so much. Sangeetha's energy is definitely infectious. It was so much fun to talk to her. And then the information, oh my gosh. This was information overload. So many new things to learn. And I'm glad we had this conversation, because now I am curious to see how different religious traditions are interconnected and what are we really missing. So if you are interested in her work, check out her website. If you like this episode, write to us. You can always follow us on our socials, on Instagram at Immigrantly Pods, on TikTok at Immigrantly, and you can check out our website for all different podcasts and more information about what we do at immigrantlypod.com. This episode was written and produced by me, Saadia Khan. The editorial review is done by Shay Yu. Our sound designer and editor is Lou Raskin. Theme music is done by Simon Hutchinson. Other music by Epidemic Sound. Come back next week when I have another important conversation to share. Take care and be safe.